Hey everybody, this is Joe. Thank you for watching my Giga Texas construction update video.
Well, welcome to a Sunday, the 9th of October here at Giga Texas. Now, tomorrow is a federal holiday in the United States. It's Columbus Day. So I thought I would come out today and take the opportunity of the weekend when it's not so busy and give you a grand tour of all 3,100 acres that makes up Giga Texas's property. Now, we'll start on the west side of the highway and I'll show you some interesting sites and developments. We'll follow the Colorado River over to the south end of the factory and then continue to the far southeast section near where the horse ranch is, and also a very large lake that is part of Giga Texas. Then I'll proceed over to where the proposed boring tunnel will be installed and show you that. I haven't shown you in about a month or so, so I thought I would revisit that as well. And then we'll continue onto the very far north of the property and show you some sites that you probably haven't seen, certainly not in a few months since I last did a video like this. I'll show you some more of the northwest side across the highway that belongs to Giga Texas, and then we'll return back to wrap up a 360-degree tour around the entire property. I'll follow that up with a 360-degree flight around the main factory, just so you can get a chance to see how that appears at a little bit higher altitude than I normally show you. So I hope that you enjoy this different video today. I hope that you enjoy the tour and all the things that you see. I hope you have a great weekend, and again, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it.
A special thank you to all of my outstanding Patreons for your continued encouragement and support. Patreon members get access to hundreds of high-resolution photos, previews of the future material, and direct dialogue with me. If you would like to support my channel, please consider becoming a patron using this link, which is also in the video description. Please also consider hitting the like and subscribe buttons, as this helps as well. Thank you. My drones are ready and raring to go. Let's go flying over Giga Texas. So right off the bat, I'm showing you this new clearing location just to the west of the highway and the main building. We'll come back for a closer look, but I noticed that this had begun its clearing about 2 videos ago, and this is the first time I've had a chance to give you a good clear image of that. So again, we will return back. We're right now flying south along the west side of the highway, and this is the location where the material storage is taking place, as you'll see coming in from the right-hand side of the screen. You can also see that there is actually a housing community on the left-hand side of the screen, very near Giga Texas. I've had some viewers ask about that, and there are several communities in the close vicinity of Giga Texas, and this is just one of them. Now you can see where the houses are in relation to the section of this part of the property that is the remnants of the old sand and gravel mine, and that's why you see these kind of hills and ponds in these north-south orientations, and also where this small pond is. All of this has been partially reclaimed by Tesla, but I expect to see further work as time goes on. As we continue a little bit farther to the far southwest, this is the extent of the property on this side of the highway on the south end. And as you can see, River Road was installed for Tesla to have access from that highway over to the factory. And also where you can see these ponds, this is part of the water management system that has been under construction for some time. You can also see there's a trail between that water management system and the Colorado River, which is what we're flying directly over right now. So just off to the left-hand side, you can see that material storage passing by. The main factory, the south end where all the Model Ys are, the cyber pond, and where the steel is located as well. You can also see the proximity of the Colorado River to the south end of the main factory. And we'll continue the flight across this pretty empty highway today because it's the weekend. There's not much traffic. I'll continue to show you a little bit of the south end main part of the factory. You'll also notice real quickly there's quite a few Model Ys on that south end. So production is starting to ramp back up again, in addition to moving all the Model Ys up to the rail yard near Hutto, Texas. Now, sort of in the center to the left-hand side of the screen, this area is where we have seen just north of the Colorado River where some work on a road. I showed you the rendering on my previous video, and I believe that that section, both north and south of the Colorado River, is where Elon has talked about construction for the boardwalk for the public, or at least that's part of that area. And we've also seen some reports of added property by Tesla for that purpose. What we see here is the horse ranch. This is also on north of that road, part of Giga Texas. This water treatment plant is not part of Giga Texas, but it does serve the factory and the surrounding area with all of the houses. We saw some of those over on the west-hand side, and we'll see some more a little bit later in the video. But this gives you a good idea of where this water treatment plant is. This very distinctive water tower on the left-hand side of the screen, and this very flat pasture, which is part of Giga Texas, which was purchased and added to the entire property late last year. Now, this horse ranch is going to be on lease from Tesla for at least 5 years, at least according to some of the documents that I've seen. So that will continue to be here while more production and work is going on the site. Now, we're flying over this large lake. This is part of Giga Texas's property. And from what we've heard about the boardwalk, the open area for the public, and also Elon has tweeted about possibly having electric boats, I believe he's talking about this particular lake. And also right near this lake, just between this little road that you see and the next trees, is the Colorado River. So you could be doing some kayaking across the Colorado River and also doing some boating on the lake. At least that seems to be what the plan is. From this view, you can see across the Colorado River to that east side, what we're familiar with a lot of the trailers, materials, the warehouse on wheels yard, and just some of the other things that you see on a fairly regular basis with normal videos. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm pulling back across this small peninsula. I call it a little like an island. It's not completely an island, but you have the lake on the left-hand side and the Colorado River that snakes around from the west, north, and east side of here. And with this overlay, you can get an idea of the approximate path of the proposed boring tunnel, which will go underneath the Colorado River and exit on this small peninsula or small island, approximately where you see that clearing right in the middle of the screen. I will move the drone in a way to look more to the south. You can see how this land and where the boring tunnel would be is in relation to that large lake. And again, this might be a very nice place for the public to be able to get boats and go out on that lake, or maybe even get some kayaking onto the Colorado River, or just hike around these trees. So this is definitely something to be monitoring as time goes on. And here's a good view of the north part of the Colorado River that kind of snakes around that small peninsula that we just discussed. As we continue flying towards the north, you can see where the battery cathode plant is right now and how it is in relationship with the main factory and the east side where the parking lot and the warehouse on wheels is located. This is a good view of that new clearing just northeast of that battery cathode plant. And what you see on the bottom left hand coming up is this is where some of the equipment rental and also a new location for storage of materials has been added to this field on the left hand side of the screen. Now, between the two big fields, you see these ponds. This is also remaining of the sand and gravel mining that took place in this particular location. That large clearing, that rectangular clearing, might be a great place to build as it's already level. And you can kind of see downtown Austin in the distance and how this whole location would appear as more and more construction continues to move towards the north. I'll face back towards the south so you can see how these two large fields appear, and in the distance the main factory. This road you see just on the bottom left-hand corner is just on the property line of Giga Texas. And as we continue to fly further to the north across this field, this is again part of Giga Texas's property. Now, this small farmhouse that you see amongst those trees, was one of the last parts of the land that was sold to Tesla, and it added to the property on this north end. And that housing complex will eventually, I think, be removed by Tesla, but right now it's not being used. Also, you can see this old shed with some of the materials around it. That's also part of Giga Texas, as are these lakes that you see near the main highway. Now I'm going to go ahead and move the drone towards the west to look across the highway. And I'm showing you that all of the land that you see across the highway, not including the highway, is also part of Giga Texas. And you can see that familiar north-south hills and ponds and all the trees. This was also part of the sand and gravel mine at that time. As we continue to the south, most of the land on the west side of the highway is still Giga Texas. You can see that construction materials in between the highways, that's part of Department of Transportation for Texas. Also, with this arrow, you can see where we began the flight at the beginning of this particular video and worked our way all the way around. This arrow shows where the electrical substation and megapack will be installed. This arrow shows the east parking lot and also where the new car staging and transportation is located. This arrow is the warehouse on wheels. And finally, this is the battery cathode plant that's being constructed on that northeast side. So hopefully this little bit of orientation of what you're seeing was helpful in figuring out where everything is located here at Giga Texas. So just further reference, this arrow shows you where that large lake was that we discussed earlier in this video. And this arrow shows you where the exit of the proposed boring tunnel would be on that small island or little peninsula. You can see a really good view here of the new permanent electrical substation under construction. And next to it in that triangular section is where the eventual Megapack battery electric storage system will be installed. We've worked our way back over to the west side of the highway. Most of this is part of Giga Texas. However, this plant is the Lone Star Asphalt Company, and this is where quite a bit of the asphalt that has been used at Giga Texas has come from. So it's very convenient as far as the location. These steel components that we see on the ground here are part of the material storage that's been here for quite some time. Most of this steel is new, and I believe that this is going to be used to continue construction inside the east side of the 4680 battery production section of the main factory. You can see some other materials stored here as well. Most of these are old concrete wall panels and some beams here that have been removed from the south end of General Assembly with some of that construction. As I mentioned earlier in the video, this is a new clearing that has just emerged in the last week, and I didn't get a chance to really give you a good view until this particular video, but as you can see, it's another very large section just to the west of the main factory, and I can't tell yet if this is for more material staging or storage, or if this is a new construction site. But this is definitely something worth monitoring, and this gives you a really good view of where it is in location to the main factory and the other parts of the main site. So I'm going to transition the video now to show you a 360-degree view of the main factory, and hopefully this will give you a really good understanding of where everything is located in the actual main building and a lot of the changes that have happened. On the west side, which is what we're looking at right now, you can see quite a few of the receiving docks. Some of them still have the temporary blank panels installed, but eventually we'll see all of these opened up, and you'll see more trailers, even more than what we see right now. This is a good view of the main entrance and the landscaping that has been added. They're continuing to finish planting most of those trees and plants, but that gives you a good view of where that is in location to the main building's entrance. A lot of trailers on this southwest section of General Assembly, and within this part of the building on the ground floor and part of the second floor is where they're installing General Assembly lines 2 and 3. The south end concrete lot shows quite a bit of the concrete removal on the west side. You can also see an excavator on that southeast side where they are starting to break up some of the concrete as well. It's also interesting to note the number of brand new Model Ys stored on this end of the building. It just shows that production is continuing and possibly ramping up. Many of the cars that end up here are on the east side are picked up rapidly by the transport trucks and moved up to the railhead up at Hutto, Texas. But this gives a good view to show you the concrete removal on the left-hand side, and these two sections that have these sort of stripes is where they have been saw cut in preparation of removal. And you can see that excavator really well here where they're beginning to break up the concrete. I believe that eventually this entire concrete slab will be broken up and we'll see some new construction. Specifically, all of this steel that you see at the bottom of the screen here and also south of the pond, I think is going to be used for that construction process. But that'll be something that we have to continue to monitor. This is a very good view of the stamping machine and the body in white east side. And you can see many of the receiving doors, some of which are new and have been cut into the walls to further expand the number of cargo bays or receiving bays. I believe the number is now up to 131, but they continue to change, so it's something that constantly needs to be upgraded and updated. So I'll continue to try to do that. I did not see any sign of the Idra 9000 Gigapress being delivered, and you can see this northeast corner of the casting machine structure, and really no sign of any of those large deliveries that we're hoping to see. But I'll continue to watch out for that as well. Now that we're on the north end of the building, I'll move the drone around so you can see the entire factory, what the north end looks like, this parking lot, some of the excavation work that's going on between the parking lot and the road, and all the materials getting ready to be brought into the paint shop north end. So that pretty much brings us to an end of this particular video. I hope that you enjoyed the tour of the large property. We got a chance to see most of the 3,100 acres and also this 360-degree view of the main factory as well. I hope that you have a great weekend and you're able to enjoy the holidays if you're here in the United States with friends and families. And also, I really do appreciate all of the support and for watching my videos. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much and have a great weekend.